Welcome to another exciting episode of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
So in a recent video, I dropped a bombshell. I mentioned that I was going to be going the short nickel versus the long dime. I'd been doing the long dime forever, and we got off air off of shooting that. And Mr. Magazine, who was tasked with coming up with a theme for an episode, said,
well, what are you going to long tail from now on?
and I think that's all right on cue. And that was a really good question. What would you long tail if you were in my shoes, Mr. Magazine?
I guess obviously things that you're going to pay more than $3 to $5 for, I guess, because that's your usual price point. So you want to pay less than $1, sell it for, start at $3.
Right, and hope to sell for more.
So if you got some 1800s dentist books and you got to pay $5 to $10, I'm assuming those aren't going to be short-tailed. Unless they're, well, even if they're $50 a piece, how good of a deal does it have to be for you to throw them up there and raise your minimum?
Right. I think that I will continue to long tail things that I enjoy listing. Which there are some various things that I enjoy listing. I think I will continue to long tail things that I don't think there's a market for over on Whatnot. And those would be my niche kind of items, like the foreign language magazines is a perfect example.
Sure.
I don't think that those are going to go very well over on Whatnot. I don't think they're going to, because it takes a lot of time to be able to list those properly in order to maximize that. I think that things I pick up very few of. In other words, if I go to a flea market and a guy's got 2 items, I buy 2 items at the flea market, that's not enough to really put them aside to worry about Whatnot. And 2 items I can stay on top of, because we did a recent video about how much stuff ends up getting listed how quickly. Well, obviously, if I come back from the flea market with 2 items, I can get those 2 items listed. Not a problem whatsoever. And I don't care if I paid 5 cents for them or $5 for them. They're 2 items. That I can get listed. So I think that instances like those, I definitely think that I will. I think that another thing that Whatnot has done for me, and I know you're not a huge fan of it, but I think that one thing that it's done for me is it's opened my eyes to money to be made in things that I don't deal in. And I'll give you the perfect example. I went to the guy called it an estate sale. He was selling stuff off of his porch, and he had photos for sale, and they were cheap. I mean, obviously they were cheap. Now, normally I wouldn't have looked at them twice, because I'd be like, I don't deal in photos. However, now that I have Whatnot, the price on these was cheap enough that I said, hey, I can buy these. I can break them up into 10, 12 different lots. I figure at least half of those are going to sell. Maybe all of them are going to sell. And I'll make good money versus what I'm paying for them. And I know when we had Primetime Treasure Hunter on the show as well, do check out that episode if you haven't seen it already. That was kind of another big thing that I was saying about Whatnot, is it's giving me the opportunity to buy things that I wouldn't otherwise buy.
Right.
And that's almost like found money, if that makes sense to you.
Sure.
Because, and here's the reason why. Because I'm at the venue to start with. And that, now obviously, if somebody calls me and they're 40 miles away and they say, oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of photos, I'm not going to drive out there to buy the photos unless they told me, I've got 50,000 photos, I want $100. Okay, yes, I'm going to buy those because there's money to be made. But if you tell me, oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of photos and I'm 50 miles away, well, the only way I'm going to come out there is if my day job literally puts me 2 blocks away, in which case I'll stop at lunch. Yes, then I would. Otherwise, no, I don't deal with photos. I'm not going to do it. But if I'm, if I go to the flea market and I see somebody with that kind of stuff, all of a sudden I'm buying something that I wouldn't otherwise have bought, which I think helps me out.
I want to make a prediction.
Go ahead.
At some point in the future, you're going to be selling boxing photos and Whatnot.
Wow. What are you, Kreskin? Yeah, and that's true. You did tell me you had a bunch of those as well. And let me ask you a question. What is have you changed at all your opinion of Whatnot? Not for you personally, because I know that it isn't something that you want to do, but just the overall site, the overall venue.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good for the stuff that I consider not even so much junk, things that I bought because I thought I could sell them, but then you live and learn that, hey, it's not worth me paying my employees to list $7 ads. and I have 10,000 $7 ads or $3 ads or whatever. So obviously I can give them to you, make some room, and I get a check for $50, $100 every week or two or whatever. So it frees up space. And now I'm finding things like that from that Scotty deal.
Mm-hmm.
Never gonna get to them. So we got a little area. There's 5-6 boxes for you. At some point you're gonna get them, sell them. I'm gonna get some checks coming in, and I can't argue with that. Because other than that, if I've had to say I had those for 2 years, the ads, the Scotty stuff, and all they've done is gotten moved from one place to another, and better stuff has come in since then. Well, guess what? Next year, better stuff's going to come in again, and we're probably never going to get to those things. So then, it's a good outlet, and I'm glad you're willing and able to take them and sell them and make us both a few bucks, and go on from there. And we can do it forever. Honestly, I got you. If I said, hey, you bored today, your cart empty, you want to load it up for free and just start selling on whatnot, whatever, we can certainly do that anytime you want.
Yeah, so. And I definitely will, after I retire, have to figure out exactly what I want to do with the venue as far as increasing my presence on the venue at that point. Right now, if you've never checked them out, there are very good deals available from me. There definitely are. I know I'm leaving a lot of money on the table, but again, I'm buying right. And I guess the way that I'm looking at it, and I never looked at it this way before, if I buy a box of books for $10, I sort them out, take pictures of them, throw them up there, and at the end of the day, I have $100 in my pocket, and it took me 45 minutes to do the auction. Mm-hmm. Not really, another half an hour to pack it, another half an hour for prepping it, whatever.
Right.
A couple hours, and I ended up with $100 in my pocket off a $10 investment, and I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Versus if I sat there and I took it, how long is it going to take me to list 40 books on eBay? A lot longer than that, and I'm not going to particularly enjoy it.
Right.
And I think one of the other advantages...
Especially the way you would list it, you could give it a good listing. The old days you probably do 30 in an hour. Now you're going to do half or less than an hour, but give much better listings, more pictures and so forth.
Yep. And books are also tougher using the CZUR Scanner because you don't want to break the binding when you're doing it. Whereas if I'm showing you the stuff with the video, now I guess I could experiment putting some video into some of my eBay listings, but even that's a little difficult unless I'm listening using the phone.
Sure.
So that was a good topic you just had there, Mr. Magazine. Show Mr. Magazine your appreciation by hitting the like button if you could, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.